From Adversity to Abundance, hosted by entrepreneur and seasoned real estate investor Jamie Bateman, is the ultimate guide for active and passive investors seeking clarity, mental fitness, and the confidence to make inspired decisions in the world of real estate. With a decade plus of investing experience across various niches and a background as a combat veteran, former Army officer, and multi-million-dollar mortgage note company owner, Jamie brings a wealth of knowledge and inspiring stories to each episode. Through weekly episodes featuring insightful interviews with industry leaders and solo explorations of mindset and strategy, listeners will uncover actionable advice and tips to overcome challenges and build lasting financial success. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting, From Adversity to Abundance is your roadmap to turning obstacles into opportunities and achieving financial freedom.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the From Adversity to Abundance podcast. I am your host, Jamie Bateman, and today we have with us Nate Hare. Nate is Vice President at Directed IRA. Nate, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing well. I know you've got a very busy travel schedule. You speak all over the country, so we definitely appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. So, before we get into your backstory a little bit and how you can how you can help our listeners as well, tell us a little bit about who you are today and some of the abundance that you're living in.
Yeah, so I would say today, I consider myself an educator. I guess that's where my abundance lies, and we can kind of get into that backstory. But most of my days are consumed with, teaching people about this product that, I was lucky to kind of run across in 2012 called the self-directed IRA. I teach basically real estate investors how they can take their retirement accounts and invest in real estate completely tax-free. Nice. It's kind of fulfilling for me because it's not selling anything really. I'm not selling like an investment. I'm not selling anything other than a concept that most investors don't get privy to. Mm-hmm. And that's how powerful a retirement account can be, especially if you're investing in real estate and you want to get off the grid and stop giving so much money away to Uncle Sam. So sure. That's what I spend a lot of my time doing. So you kind of mentioned I speak a lot. I get asked to speak at local RIAs, different groups all across the country. So I'm very busy. I live out of a suitcase, but it's very rewarding to me. So
nice. Well, I'm and I know a little bit about your backstory, but I'm thinking the reason that you're so passionate about that education is that, like you alluded to, you discovered this years ago. It sounds like 14 years ago, approximately. And I think it's really added value to you as far as this self-directed IRA, that way to invest. But, and so I love that it, obviously we're all selling something and you're ultimately are selling something, but it sounds like you're saying that you love selling it because it's helped you so much. And so you want to help a lot of other people. So it's an easy sell, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I learned about this in 2012 by chance, and it's one of those things that when I first learned about it, I was almost upset because I thought, why wasn't I taught this earlier? Right. I went through college, short stint with an MBA program, went to real estate school, surrounded myself with a lot of successful real estate investors and lenders. Right. And nobody was using this product, nor had I ever even heard about it. Mm-hmm. And then when I heard about it, it kind of made me upset. It's one of those things. I wish I would have known about this 10 years before I learned about it.
Sure.
So when I realized there was a lot of people in my same position, I just became passionate about teaching it.
Absolutely. I've got a mortgage note fund that I run, and most of our investors use some version of a self-directed IRA account, something whether Roth or not. But so I start to get into the mindset of everybody knows about this because, it's kind of the world that I live in. I've got, an account myself, but you realize, no, if you zoom out slightly, you realize many, many people have never even heard of investing in this format. But let's jump back into your backstory. I know you went through a very rough patch in 2007, 2008 with investing and your own whether it was active or passive. Let's jump back in, set the stage for us. What did things look like before the storm hit for you?
Yeah. So back in 2002, when I graduated college, I always had an idea that I wanted to be in real estate, specifically be a real estate investor. Out of college, you don't really know what that means.
Sure.
So I went to real estate school. That was my first thing. I thought, well, I'll go to real estate school to learn about real estate.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly, I learned that they don't really teach you how to be a real estate investor. They teach you how to be a real estate broker or a real estate agent. And, that just wasn't something that I was leaning toward. I wanted to be on the investment side of real estate. I played college baseball. So
Nice.
I was always a numbers guy. I was the nerdy kid that used to calculate his batting average at recess. I'm not lying. So I was always gravitated toward the numbers of real estate.
Okay.
So I actually landed in the mortgage business back in 2004.
Okay.
This is where I got my first taste of real estate on the lending side.
Sure.
I started from that point, accumulating my own rental property. Bought my first home that I lived in, started buying up rental properties. And again, you guys all know the dynamic in 2004 to 2006. It was, you can fog a mirror and get a loan. So
absolutely
had great credit.
I was working for a title company back then. And similar to you, I honestly had no idea I got out of college and had no idea even what a title company really did. So, and not to make the episode about me, but there were so many loans being given out. I did a ton of refis, a lot of investor loans as well myself as a title agent, notary. And it was just a crazy busy time where anyone could, like you said, essentially get, if you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan. The stated income loans. Oh yeah, I have this much income.
Yeah.
No evidence.
The no doc loans,
no
no income verifier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those are, that all led up to the crash that I think we're going to talk about. So, what happened next for you?
So in 2007, 2008, obviously I had a rude awakening, and I was, just so young and, had 17 rental properties at this time, and they were all good rentals. But the problem was, most of them were in Las Vegas where I lived. If you guys know anything about Las Vegas in 2008, that was probably one of the hardest hit cities in the country.
Sure.
Because you had a lot of investors from California, out of state investors that just started walking from their properties, and that immediately started to torpedo the value of my properties. So even though I didn't walk from my properties, other investors walking from their properties affects the value.
Sure.
And I spent about a year just throwing every dime I had in savings just to, try to keep up with these mortgage payments, the negative rents. And it just, at a certain point, you got to just cut that umbilical cord. I consulted with consultants, and they said, you know what, Nate, you're just throwing good money at bad money. You just got to let these properties go.
Right.
So, that was a real tough time for me.
Sure.
But the thing is it led me to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I didn't know back then. And sometimes you have to go through, some defeats to really understand what success is.
Absolutely.
And it forces you out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
So real quickly, putting a couple numbers at, like you like to do, put some numbers behind this. How old were you at that point? Let's say when you had your 17 rentals before things crashed, and how were those looking for you when everything was great? From a number, how much income were you making just from your rental properties, if you can recall?
Oh, just from my rental properties, I think the first year I made $500,000. So it was considerable. And, I was at a very young age, but I was a little bit ignorant at that age. I was in my mid 20s at that point. So like I said, I thought, oh, this is easy. Real estate investing is so easy,
right.
Not seeing the writing on the wall, but, almost nobody saw the writing on the wall.
Exactly.
So it's not that I was, a rarity. It was, it struck a lot of people. So I don't look back on it as a bad thing. It was a transitional phase for me.
Yeah.
But it led me to understanding a little bit more about how to be a smarter investor. And I would say specifically smarter on the tax and financial side of real estate investing, which I think still today, most real estate investors don't take time to really understand the mechanics of decreasing or eliminating their taxes on real estate. I still to this day see a lot of real estate investors make a lot of money in real estate and I see the structures that they use. And I wouldn't say that they're very tax conscious. And, for me, I look at that and it reminds me of myself, because that boat can only sail so far. So, one of the things that I learned, which is why I'm so passionate about teaching it today, is about these self-directed retirement accounts that allow you to hold real estate inside of them. Now, the reason why that's important to me is because when I understood this concept, I think back to 2007, 2008, and I think about all the taxes that I paid on my rental income, my capital gains. And I think back now to, and think, God, if I understood this product that I understood today or understand today, I could have probably saved all those properties, because I would have had a lot more saved, by eliminating taxes. And I had a retirement plan at that time. I had a Northwestern Mutual account. I was conditioned to think that all you do with a retirement account is you put money in it, you let an advisor, do all the things for you, and that's how you retire. That's how I was conditioned to think about retirement.
Sure.
I was never conditioned to think that I could apply my real estate knowledge to my retirement plan.
Right.
And had I known that, I would have been buying most of the properties that I bought personally as a taxpayer. I would have been buying them in my retirement plan. Where I don't have to pay taxes and where it's safe and secure. So now I'm almost glad that happened, because I probably wouldn't be in the position that I am today and understand the things that I understand today.
Yeah. So as far as your 17 rental properties, did you lose any of those to foreclosure or anything like that? Or was it all, you just cut your losses before things got that?
I had to file bankruptcy at that time.
Oh, wow.
I consulted with some pretty high net worth financial advisors and attorneys. And they said, you know what, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
You're throwing good money at bad money. Because the thing was, I had loans that exceeded the property values themselves. And when you're trying to keep those properties afloat, it can only last so long.
Sure.
And if anybody knows Las Vegas, there was no mortgage industry at that time. So I even lost my job too, 2 jobs in the mortgage industry. I showed up to our office one day with locks on the door. Wow. So it wasn't only that I lost properties, we lost jobs in Las Vegas. So it was a very hard time, and there's not a lot of financial or real estate jobs in Las Vegas at that time. And the stated income loan, if you guys know, that was almost a necessity in Las Vegas, because everybody works on tips. When the banks got rid of those loans, we were out of business. So it was a really rough time back in 2007, 2008. But I'm glad that happened in my 20s and not my 40s.
Oh, yeah. So you lost your job and all of your rental properties within the same year or two, correct?
Yeah.
And you filed for bankruptcy. That's a lot. And we don't, it's not something where we're trying to bring people on here and make them feel bad about, mistakes or anything like that. That, like you said, nobody saw this crash coming. No one did. And I think there is decent advice about investing in your own, in a market that and oftentimes that's where you live. Right. So, before we get into how you learned about self-directed IRA investing and what, some of the things you would have done differently with regard to that, set that aside for a second. What would you have done differently, as far as buying rental properties, or could you have done a 1031 exchanges into a different area of the country, or is there anything else you could have done or would have done differently besides the self-direction?
So I used a few 1031 exchanges. Okay. So if people don't understand what that is, you take your capital gain from a property and you just roll it right into a similar property. Yeah. All that really does is defer taxes to the future. So at some point you got to pay the piper on that type. Sure. But with a self-directed IRA, I'll just say, it's a retirement account that you can own rental properties in and other investments. Most people just think you buy stocks and bonds. But if you think about how a retirement account works, is when you buy a property inside of a retirement account, or you buy a stock inside of a retirement account and you sell it, your retirement account gets the gain. And gains are untaxed in a retirement account. Doesn't matter if you buy and sell a stock, a mutual fund, or a rental property. So with those properties that I was buying and selling, because I sold a lot too. So I was flipping property and rolling it into new property. But I was paying a lot in taxes. I remember writing $90,000 checks to the IRS. So, that's a big squeeze. But I just thought that's that's the nature of the beast.
Right.
But when you understand that there's a smarter way to invest dollars, because I didn't need the money. I didn't need to spend the money. I was just trying to roll it and invest it and grow it.
Right.
If you think about a retirement account's not a taxpayer. Nate Hare is a taxpayer.
Right.
Had I understood that I can start buying property inside my retirement account, I would have probably bought most of those investments inside my retirement account.
Right.
Because you can even get financing. Your IRA can get financing. So the long and the short of it is, I mean, if I just had to, shoot from the hip, I would probably say, had I bought at least 10 of those properties inside my retirement account, I probably could have saved at least $500,000 in taxes.
Wow.
And that's considerable.
Yeah, I'd say.
And I probably would still be rolling those dollars over today, and it would be considerably more. Now, today, I primarily self-direct my retirement account into notes, and we can talk about that transition away from being a landlord to being a lender. But I think the point of it is that, it doesn't take the financial crisis to understand that, being tax conscious is the way that real estate investing becomes really successful. Right. I mean, that's the age old saying. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2012, you find out about this strategy, this product. How did that happen? And also, what did you do on the W-2 side to get back on the horse as far as active income?
Yeah. So, I tried to stick it out in Las Vegas. Las Vegas just wasn't working for the industry that I wanted to be in. So I was looking to make a transition, and I got a call. Actually it was in 2010. I got a call from this company first.
Okay.
This was a self-directed IRA company out of Houston, Texas.
Okay.
A friend of mine worked there at the time. And he was trying to convince me to come move to Austin, Texas to help them open up their first Austin branch.
Okay.
Now, my first question is, what the heck is a self-directed IRA? Like, I didn't even know what that was. So I kind of just shoot him off and said, nah, I don't even know what that is. Doesn't sound like it's right for me. Right. Well, they kept calling. And 2 years later, I was just ready to make a move. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give this company a chance. I'll give Texas a chance. And they relocated me to Houston, Texas, where their corporate office was. And this is where I first learned about what a self-directed IRA was. Okay. I learned from some very, very knowledgeable real estate attorneys that were running the company at the time. And I real quickly found out I was in a different echelon of real estate investing. I had upped my game surrounding myself with people that were really smart about real estate investing, not just buying real estate the conventional way. I'm talking, and I don't want to bore people with, fancy terminology, but real estate investors buying property subject to seller financing, private lending, real estate option contracts. This was the first time I had ever learned all these creative real estate strategies. And how you can apply them to a self-directed retirement account. And I learned more, I think, about real estate investing from the clients
That's what I was just going to ask.
Of that company.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've learned way more from clients that self-direct their retirement account into real estate than I ever learned working for a mortgage company or going to real estate school.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if it was more from the people that you worked with or the people that you were serving, your clients. Sounds like both. A little bit of both. Yeah.
Both. Yep.
Got it. All right. So, fast forward as far as your own personal story, and then I want to definitely dive into how people can use this tool with notes, as you said, and real estate. And we'll get into some of the nitty gritty. Obviously, we don't have time to cover all of the things you just rattled off, but what did things look like for you on a personal level from, over the last 15 years with your own personal investing journey?
Yeah. So now things are great. So I've worked in the self-directed IRA industry for 15 years now. I've worked for two big companies. The company that I was originally with sold, and now I'm with Directed IRA, which basically does the same thing. We provide self-directed IRAs to people that want to invest their retirement accounts into alternatives. My personal investment strategy has changed, partly due to my schedule. I do travel a lot and speak a lot. I live out of a suitcase at this point, but I really enjoy it. It gets me out there, seeing different towns, seeing different cities.
Yeah.
And speaking, and I say educating investors about how these self-directed IRAs work, different strategies you can apply to them. I like to show a lot of case studies and stories that I've learned from my own
those
clients.
are super helpful. Yeah.
Super helpful because that's how I learned. I get a lot of feedback that I make self-direction easy because when I wasn't an attorney. So when I was learning it from these real estate attorneys, I had to break it down more simply in layman's terms.
Absolutely.
So I had to understand it in layman's terms, but how I teach it is kind of that same way.
Sure.
So with that busy schedule and my background in mortgage lending, I've switched my strategy where I'm primarily a private lender at this point.
Okay.
And I do private loans out of my self-directed retirement accounts because one thing you need to know is if you ever want to be a lender, lending is great. No work, no toilets, no tenants. You're secured by real estate. In some cases, you can get double-digit returns.
Yeah.
But it's ordinary income to you as a person.
Right. Absolutely.
It's not taxable in an IRA. And I'm not saying you should not lend outside of your IRA.
Right.
Just understand the tax differences between lending money out of your bank account and lending money out of your Roth IRA.
Absolutely.
A lot of successful investors do both. But at this point, I'm very strategic with how I invest my retirement account.
Okay.
Where I do private money loans, hard money loans out of my self-directed Roth IRA and my self-directed HSA. I love those two accounts because I pay no tax on distributions and I pay no tax on any of the interest income. And I'm very, very strategic in who I lend to. I lend to real estate flippers who only need my money for 12 months. Why? Because I'm a numbers guy and I understand that if I can get double-digit returns by lending money out, I can also compound that interest by doing short-term notes. Not saying that's the end-all be-all, but that's just the way that I like to lend. And I see a lot of investors lend differently, but that's the great thing I think about lending when you're creating notes specifically is you can be very creative with the terms of your notes.
Right.
Simple interest notes, shared appreciation notes. I know I'm just speaking Chinese to some people out there, but I get a lot of thrill in doing this because it also allows me to help local real estate investors pick up property who are better real estate investors than I ever was. So I still invest in real estate as the bank now.
Got it. Yeah. And we're getting more into private lending ourselves. We've got the mortgage note fund and we're starting to get it more into origination of hard money lending. There's certainly many advantages to both of those. But you're right. From a tax standpoint, neither one of those really offer, when I say, I'm referring to mortgage note investing where you're buying an already originated note, typically an owner finance property or a owner occupied property, pardon me. And same thing with lending, whether it's hard money lending or originating on an, owner occupied property. None of that stuff really has any inherent tax benefits inside the asset class itself, whereas buying a rental property does. So on the rental property side, when you use your self-directed IRA account to buy a rental property, if someone does that, just say a single family home, keep it simple. Are you not giving up any of the tax benefits since you're using your IRA account? Is there nothing that you're getting rid of there? Does it not make sense to buy, a rental property in an LLC that has nothing to do with a self-directed account? Can you clarify that?
Yeah. So first, I think real estate investing is great inside and outside of an IRA. And I think what you're alluding to, and again, this is one of the, I guess, misconceptions I hear a lot from CPAs who hear about our product and go, Nate, why would you ever buy real estate in an IRA when your IRA doesn't get depreciation?
Right, exactly.
And I asked that CPA, is that the only reason somebody buys real estate, for depreciation, or do they buy it for cash flow? Do they buy it for appreciation? And do they buy it because it's tangible? Oh, and by the way, did you know that the IRA doesn't get depreciation because the IRA doesn't have any tax to depreciate against? So it's a moot point in my mind. Right. If you're going to invest your retirement account, and most people, 70% of Americans have one, there's $49 trillion in U.S. retirement accounts. They have to invest it in something before they get to retirement. So my question to that person is, if they say, why would you invest in real estate in your IRA when your IRA doesn't get depreciation? I say, You should invest your retirement into what is the safest, most secure, and performs the best in your mind. Depreciation is a moot point in an IRA. So for me, I'm going to invest in what grows best and what I understand best. And the other common answer is if you're not going to invest in real estate because your IRA doesn't get depreciation, does that mean the alternative is just invest in the stock market just because my IRA doesn't get depreciation?
Right.
What if my IRA makes more money buying real estate?
Right.
So, it's one of those things that I go back to. Real estate investing outside of an IRA is good if you need the depreciation or if you want some cash flow.
Right.
But I'll put it this way. I have a real estate investor that says, he teaches a lot too. And he says, Nate, I try to do this many deals in my name or my LLC. Not any more, not any less. And what he means by that is he's a full-time real estate investor that also uses a self-directed IRA.
Okay. Yeah.
He wants enough deals in his name personally where he knows he's got to pay a little bit of taxes on.
Right.
He just wants enough deals where his needs are met, where he can pay his mortgage payment, he can pay the car payment, he could take a nice vacation, he can buy Christmas gifts for the family. But once he hits that line,
right,
he doesn't want to keep doing deals in his name or his LLC because then he feels like he's just working for the government because Uncle Sam's going to take 40% of that from him.
Right.
So at that point, and this is an oversimplification, but
Yeah.
at that point, every real estate deal is going in his retirement account because he wants those extra deals, that extra money to not be taxed.
Right.
And he wants to roll those over into new investments.
Right.
And once you get to retirement, if you've played your cards right, your real estate investing in your retirement account can pay for your entire retirement completely tax-free. I mean, I've got clients that have a dozen rental properties in a self-directed Roth, and they're over the age of 60, so they have what's called tax-free distributions.
Yeah.
I have one lady, Rebecca, in Houston. She has 12 rental properties, so she has 12 renters that pay rent to her Roth IRA, which is untaxed. And now that she's above the age, she can take tax-free distributions of those rents. So every month she gets about $25,000 in her Roth IRA from the renters. She simply takes it out to herself as a tax-free, penalty-free distribution. The next month she takes another $25,000. The next month, the next month. So she's living on about $300,000 of tax-free rental income by just owning the properties in her Roth and not personally as the taxpayer.
Wow.
And meanwhile, her account grows every single year.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also, if you do buy rental properties outside of your IRA, you still have to deal with the depreciation. There's still depreciation recapture at the end of it all. So it's not an eternal tax benefit as far as if you take advantage of that depreciation. Walk us through, in your case, how does a private lending deal work for you? Like just kind of, if somebody wanted to, let's say somebody wanted to roll over or transfer funds from their current 401k or IRA into a self-directed account, and they want to do one private lending deal, what might that look like? Where do they find a borrower? How do they get set up doing that? And how are you able to do that yourself and roll that into the next deal? What does that look like? Just give us kind of a basic case study there.
Yeah. So if you want to get into that type of investing, first you got to open up an IRA with a company like us that'll allow you to do that investment. Fidelity and Charles Schwab won't let you do a hard money loan out of your retirement account. It's called an alternative investment. So first step is just open an IRA. And we say self-directed IRA, but self-direct is just a marketing term. So whatever IRA you have at Fidelity, if it's a traditional or Roth, you set up the same IRA here at Directed IRA.
Okay.
You move some money over. You're going to wire some money from Fidelity to Directed IRA. And then once you've got money in your IRA with us, here's where the self-directed part comes in is if you want to do a hard money loan to a borrower, you have to identify the borrower. So we don't give you borrowers. We don't tell you who to lend to. That's where the self-directed comes from.
Gotcha.
So you have to vet your own deals. So it's a little bit more of an entrepreneurial account.
Sure.
But where have I found my borrowers? Through all the real estate events that I've spoken at over the last 15 years. I would say if you're interested in real estate, you should be attending your local real estate investor association. There's a lot of good ones across the country. There's a lot of meetup groups with some really, successful real estate investors. So long story short, I have about 3 or 4 real estate flippers that I loan to in Houston, Texas. And, they've got pretty good deal flow, but they don't come to me for every deal.
Yeah,
They don't send every deal to me. They send me the real hard deals that they can't, get their conventional bank to fund.
Right.
I'll give you an example. I had one guy approach me and said he found this property that was vacant for 2 years in a rough part of Houston. His conventional bank looked at the property, said, "We're not touching that. It's in too rough a shape." He had identified that the owner was a grandson that inherited it, that didn't know he owned it until the investor called him. The grandson was in need of money. So long story short, motivated seller.
Sure.
So his conventional bank wouldn't lend him the money, the investor the money. The hard money lender that he used, he said, yeah, he can get it done, but it was going to take 2 weeks. But for a real estate investor, oftentimes you want to get this deal done like now before somebody else snags it.
Sure.
So this is why when you reach out to a private money lender consist of self-directed IRA lenders. So he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, Nate, I've got this deal. I need $100,000 to buy it. It's the ARV is $215. Will you look at it and see if you're willing to lend on this deal?" I look at it. I decide whether or not I'm comfortable loaning on that deal. I actually ran comps on it, and I comped it out at 237.5. So as a lender, for me to loan $100,000 on an asset that's worth above 200, it's a pretty safe deal for me. I can sleep at night on that deal. So next step, once I've got my money in my self-directed IRA, is I have my attorney draft a promissory note. And the promissory note's going to have the terms dictated between me and the borrower. Now, in this specific case, the borrower just needed my money for 12 months. So he was going to refinance it at a later point or just fix it up and flip it. So he was fine paying 12% and 2 points up front. So those terms are drafted in the promissory note. The lender on the note is my Roth IRA, and I included my self-directed HSA.
Okay.
It's a fractionalized note. Still one lien. Both accounts are in first lien position, but it's still one note. And I give that to my self-directed IRA custodian. They review the note just for accuracy as far as the lender information. And then money out of my Roth IRA and HSA go directly to the title company. Okay. So now my Roth and my HSA own two things: a promissory note and a deed of trust.
Okay.
The deed of trust is what secures me to the property in the event the borrower doesn't pay or the borrower dies. So long story short, he paid on time every time, every month. And after 12 months, he actually refinanced. He was going to sell it, but he decided to keep it. Okay. Refinanced it with the conventional bank that wouldn't give him the financing at the beginning, right? Nice. So my Roth and my HSA are made whole through the payoff. And then I just do it again, and it's rinse and repeat.
If somebody wanted to spend, let's say someone wanted to do 5 hard money lending deals in per year, how much time approximately do they have to put in to do this? Because the reality is some people want to spend no time on their retirement. They want to just put the money in, and the truth is stocks and bonds are less, time consuming. There's a whole scale. It's not either passive or active, and I've talked about this a lot. I still think this is fairly passive what you're doing, but how much time does somebody need to set aside to be able to manage this if they want to do, say, 4 or 5 deals per year in hard money lending through their self-directed IRA?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say it's easy and it doesn't take much time, but all that, what I just mentioned, that took a little bit of time. But it also, I'm lucky enough to have those relationships. Right. Most people do not have those lending relationships or people that they trust that have those kind of deals. Right. So what I would say is, you're going to spend a little bit of time, and I would probably say to anybody without giving investment advice, is there's other ways to get into those types of investments without you having to do all the work, right? There's debt funds, there's multifamily syndicate, there's other things, there's other experts that you can leverage. Right. I believe you guys have one. Yeah, so if I was going back, and I'll just say this is the honest truth, if I didn't have the relationships that I had, I still would be lending, but I would be relying on somebody else to do the vetting, and I would take less return for that. Sure.
No, and there's a lot of hard money lending businesses operate that way, where they have the capital partners who, say your IRA, if you decided you wanted to be a capital partner to a hard money lending company, you can lend your money to that company and expect a return of maybe 10%. where that company is then charging the points, charging a little bit of extra income, to the borrower. And so they're making a little bit on the spread, and they're making some on points and also extension fees and things like that. But they're the ones doing the work. And you're just, in that case, way more passive. You're lending to that hard money lender. So there's also that option. But yeah, and that's why, we have our mortgage note fund. Ours is for accredited investors, and it's quite passive. Really it's a matter of, okay, what did I get this deposit for into my account, whether self-directed account or not? And where's my K1 so I can file my tax return? That's
a lot more passive than my deals. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah. But it's just, I love this, the combination between mortgage note investing and self-directed IRA account investing, or private lending and self-directed IRA account investing, because like we already covered, there's no real inherent tax benefits to that asset class by itself, but the self-directed using a retirement account solves that problem for you, whether it's tax-free or tax-deferred. So what's one of the craziest, most creative things you've seen from a client probably in the last 15 years? Does a case study come to mind? It doesn't have to be the most creative, but something interesting that our viewer may find intriguing, just a creative way they've used a self-directed account.
I have so many. I'll tell you this one, and this is I've got some good lending ones, but I'll tell you a more real estate one. Again, this is another deal in Houston, Texas, because I was there for 9 years. I saw a lot of clients doing a lot of creative things with their IRA.
Yeah.
So I had a client. He had never had a retirement account. He was in his mid-50s. He was a developer. Okay. So real estate investor and developer. So he had first funded his Roth IRA when he was 54 years old. Okay. He had never had a retirement account. This is how late he started.
Wow.
At the time, I think the contribution limit was $5,000. So he put $5,000 in 1 year, and it was just at the end of the year, so that once we hit January, he threw another $5,000 in.
Okay.
So he's got a $10,000 Roth. He's a real estate investor, and he worked in the third ward. If anyone's familiar with the third ward in Houston, rough area, Houston for many years. Now it's kind of a hot area.
Okay.
He was working primarily in that area from the beginning. He actually positioned himself in the area where everybody in the community knew him and said, if you've got any problems with your real estate, go see James.
Nice.
Painted a red door on his building. So everybody knew, if you got a real estate issue, go see James. So he gets a knock on his door. A lady had not paid her property taxes for 5 years. She basically turned her house into a hoarder house. Again, this is a rough part of Houston. She was in her 80s, and she was 2 weeks away from foreclosure because she had not paid her property taxes. So long story short, James goes out and says, well, let's take a look at the property. Let me see if I can help you. He goes out, says, wow, this is a rough house. I mean, she turned it into a hoarder house. It was maybe worth 30 grand at the time.
Wow.
So he said, well, I'll help you out. I'll get you out of your situation. I'll give you 10 grand out of my Roth IRA to pay your property taxes. But he didn't know if you wanted to buy the house. So what they did is an arrangement called a real estate option.
Okay.
He gave her consideration, which was the $10,000 in exchange for his Roth IRA to have the first right to buy her property, but not the obligation to buy her property.
Okay. Yeah.
So the option period was for 2 years. So he's got this option. His Roth has this option to buy the property. She ends up saving herself from foreclosure. She moves into a home with some family in Virginia. Now, I'm making this story short. Now he has the option to take this property over because she vacated the property. So he took the property, he executed the option, or his Roth executed the option. Now he's got a hoarder house in his Roth IRA, but no money in his Roth IRA.
Right.
So what he did is, one of the things you can't do is you can't extend your own services to your retirement plan. So he couldn't use his own development company to do anything on that property. But he knew a friend of his that also had a development company. He said, hey, I've got this Roth IRA owned hoarder house. I think we can demo it and build 2 new townhomes and sell them retail. He said, I don't have any money in my Roth IRA to pay you. Would you be interested, development company, bringing in all the construction costs? In exchange, I'll give you 50% of the profit when we sell these 2 new townhomes, and we'll structure it as a joint venture. Okay. So Roth IRA and developer go into a joint venture, 50-50. Wow. Developer comes in, bulldozes the property, builds 2 new townhomes, sells them retail. His Roth IRA netted in 16 months $297,000 on that one deal.
Incredible.
Through a $10,000 option contract, and he just leveraged his network and brought a developer in to build, and all the gain went back to his Roth tax-free. Had he done that personally, he would have lost $80,000 to taxes.
That's incredible. I mean, the ROI on that, I don't know what it is. It's incredible. Well, we are starting to run out of time. That's an unreal story, but it does. I think one of the takeaways here is to open up your mind and realize there are other ways to do things than just the standard traditional way that we've been taught. Doesn't mean it's right for everyone. I think there's a large subset of the population who just doesn't even know about this, which that's what you're trying to do when you spread the word and educate people. I still think there are people who this probably isn't right for. Just briefly, who might this not be right for, using a self-directed account?
The people it's not right for are people that are quick to trust. If you're vetting the investments, you got to do a little bit of digging just as far as people's background, or you have to leverage someone else's experience or talents. Yeah. I would say who it's for, though, it's somebody that really wants to get out of the rat race and get out of the stress of turning on CNBC to see what their stocks are worth every single day, every single morning. It's somebody that wants to be a little bit entrepreneurial or take control of their retirement. Right. Or it's just somebody that wants to diversify. I will tell you that most millionaires, and the data shows this, most people who have a retirement account do not hold an alternative at all. But if you look at the people with a net worth above $1 million, the percentage of alternative investments that person has in their retirement account is 22%. That's considerable. Wow. But when you look at the ultra wealthy, people with a net worth of 30 million and above, almost 55% of the assets inside their retirement account are alternative investments. So if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You could sit. But if you want to, based on the numbers, have a larger IRA than most people, alternatives is something you should at least consider and look at. I'm not telling you have to invest in it, but there's a lot of opportunity, especially with alternatives like real estate, where there's tangible investments that appreciate in cash flow. If you can apply those strategies to an account that doesn't pay tax, your retirement account might look a little different. Yeah. And one of the things I did not know for years, or just because I didn't spend time learning about it or thinking about it, but a lot of us tend to think black or white, meaning everything's black and white. There's this or that. And the truth is you can still have a Vanguard, IRA account, say a Roth account that invests in stocks and bonds, and, maybe a money market account or something, and an account with Directed IRA or a similar company. You can move some of your money over. You don't have to just cancel your account. You don't have to kill your 401k entirely. You can have both. You can have multiple Roth IRA self-directed accounts, right? You can have as many IRAs as you want. I have too. I have an account at Charles Schwab. Okay. I keep a little bit of money in there to track the market, but I also have an IRA here at Directed IRA. I have a client that has 35 IRAs parked all over the place. Wow. Yeah. So you don't need to shut down or move everything out of your Fidelity account or your Charles Schwab account. Right. But you can have two. Most of my clients, I would say 95% of my clients, they have a Directed IRA account, and then they also have a Fidelity account, and they just move money back and forth between those accounts depending on what they want to invest in at that time. Awesome. That's really cool. So Directed IRA, how are you all different than all the other self-directed custodian or self-directed companies out there? Yeah, so there's a handful of companies out there. I mean, it's really a niche product, so you're not going to find a ton of them. There's probably a dozen good self-directed IRA companies. Our product's the same. An IRA is an IRA is an IRA. Right. So what you want to do is you want to work with a company that is going to fund your investments on time, pick up the phone. At the end of the day, it's good customer service that sets us apart. That's really where we spend a lot of our time and energy is making self-direction easy, because most people have never done it before. So kind of the mottos that we live on, behind back doors is we want to make self-direction easy so your mother could do it. So I think that plays a part in it. So that's how we separate ourselves from the other companies that might make the process a little onerous and time consuming. We try to do the opposite. So if anybody goes and looks at our reviews on Google, you'll see, I mean, our clients love our service and our product. And I think we've got like 1,600 5-star reviews at this point. So it's the service that sets us apart.
Sure. No, that's so important for sure. What's a challenge that you're facing, whether you personally in your professional work life or the company at large? What's a big challenge that you're facing right now?
Challenge. I mean, challenge is always just at least getting the word out there. I mean, getting out to enough people. I think right now I would say, and this is honest truth, a lot of people are just in this kind of frozen mode. And this happens every once in a while, right? Sure. Investing is cyclical. But I think with just, the economies and wars, when you got a lot of things going on, people are less concerned about their retirement accounts. Mm-hmm. So right now, people are just a little hesitant to move money, out of the market. Plus, the market's been doing pretty well. Yeah. So I think that's really a challenge, but that challenge only lasts, so long. We know that that's cyclical and it'll come back. But that's the only challenge, is just getting people to understand that it's out there and getting people convinced that, this might be right for them. Nice. Other than that, it's, smooth sailing.
Got it. All right. Got a few rapid fire questions and then we'll get out of here, Nate. If you were given $10 million tomorrow, what would you do with it? Oh my gosh.
I would invest in real estate, obviously. Mm-hmm. I would probably if I had that much money, I would put it into some conservative investments where I had to do no work. So I wouldn't do all the work vetting my own deals. I would probably do a small portion of that. I would probably buy, some property, and there's some areas of the states that I really like. Mm-hmm. I would probably even, and this is one of the strategies I'm looking at in my retirement account, is buying property subject to or with seller financing. Yeah. Those types of strategies, you can accumulate a lot of properties with a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. And so, it would all be real estate focused, but I would probably diversify into some hard asset real estate, some creation of some notes, and some real passive investments where I invest into a fund that they do all the work. And, making 7-8% on $10 million. Yeah. I mean, you're pretty much set.
It's a good problem to have. Yeah. What's a book or two that you can recommend to our listener?
So, Never Split the Difference. I love Chris Voss. Yeah. I study him a lot. Some other books. I'm not a huge book guy. I like to watch. I learn. I'm a more visual person. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I'll watch as far as investing goes. I'll give a plug to our CEO, the Self-Directed IRA Handbook. If anybody's interested in diving into a real good, easy to consume book on self-directed IRAs, look up the Self-Directed IRA Handbook by Matt Sorensen. Number one bestseller for self-directed IRAs. It's those things, those nerdy things that I get a kick out of. But I guarantee you, if you're taking a vacation, bring that book with you, and you'll come back from that vacation thinking about investing your retirement a lot differently.
I love it. For you, how has financial abundance made your life better?
Well, it makes it a lot easier to sleep at night. I'll say that. So, and I wouldn't call it abundance. I would call it more security. Okay. Investing in things that I understand better, or at least knowing that I can do it now, allows me to sleep at night. And I just get a real thrill out of teaching people this, to be honest. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's real life. I've been in this business for 15 years and I still wake up, invigorated to get out and get on podcasts, get on webinars and teach people, because it's always a new set of eyes. There's always people that are hearing this information for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I think that will always be the case with our product, because your financial advisors will never tell you about it because they don't want you to self-direct. Yeah. So, I get up every day, thinking that, I have abundance in life by just getting out there and showing people what I wish I would have known a long time ago. And that security piece is huge. So before we actually log off here, Nate, give us a high level overview. We've hit a bunch of different types of self-directed accounts. We've touched on different ones, but there's like EQRPs and HSAs and Roth and traditional IRAs. Can you give us a quick rundown of the type of accounts that you all manage? Yeah, so we have 6 types of accounts that can be self-directed. They all are tax-exempt trusts. 4 are for retirement, 2 are for current needs. So the 4 retirement accounts that we have that can be self-directed, traditional IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA if you're self-employed, and we also have a solo 401k if you're self-employed. Those are for retirement, right? You build wealth. You don't have to pay taxes on the Roth or the Roth 401k. I love those 2 accounts out of the 4.
Yeah.
But then we also have accounts that are not retirement accounts, but grow tax-free. Self-directed health savings account and self-directed Coverdell ESA.
Okay.
HSA, it's just like the HSA you have at your job. 60% of employers offer a health savings account, yet most people, A, don't even know you can invest it, and B, definitely don't know you can invest it into real estate. Those accounts grow tax-free, but you can take the money out as soon as the account makes the money to pay for your qualified health expenses.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the Coverdell ESA, it's another account. It works like a 529 plan. However, it allows you to invest in real estate or private loans or debt funds. But again, the income on those accounts can be taken out immediately, tax-free and penalty-free, to pay for qualified education expenses for your kids or your grandkids. So it's not just about retirement. And that's why I get so much thrill. It's how do you pay for the things you're paying for today without dipping into your back pocket, your taxable money, and let your investments pay for healthcare and let your investments pay for education for your kids and grandkids. And you can consume more expenses with the same amount of money because the government doesn't tax HSAs and ESAs.
Right.
So those are the 6 accounts that we have.
Yeah, got it. And what is it besides real estate and lending or mortgage notes? Are there 1 or 2 other asset classes that tend to be popular within the self-directed world?
I would say the most popular investments that we see are passive real estate investings through multifamily syndications and commercial syndications would probably be a big one. Private lending, whether it's buying an existing note, investing in a debt fund, or creating a note is probably second.
Okay.
And then we have some other investments that are probably like mineral rights investments has been a big one. Investing in real estate underneath your feet. Didn't know that exists.
Okay.
So mineral rights, oil and gas, cryptocurrency, and precious metals.
Okay. Super helpful. Nate Hare, what have I not asked you that you wish I had? Anything we should cover before we log off here?
No, I think I've bored the audience enough.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I hope I make it exciting. I always have an uphill battle talking about retirement accounts, or myself for that matter. But I get excited about it, and I hope people feel the excitement in it. So it is exciting when you start learning how creative you can get with these vehicles.
One of the themes of our show is taking ownership of your situation. And it's typically we're focused on your financial situation, your financial, whether that's your business or your retirement account or whatever it is, but taking ownership doesn't always mean you have to spend, 50 hours a week managing a retirement account. I mean, that's not the point. But it is one of the common themes of overcoming adversity and getting to abundance is just taking ownership. I mean, maybe stocks and bonds in a regular, Schwab account is the way to go for you, but at least you should be involved in taking ownership of that situation and learning about what the options are that are out there. And like we've covered multiple times, a lot of people just aren't even aware of these options. So I do agree. It's exciting for sure. And I think you're fighting the good fight. And I thank you for spending some time with us today, Nate.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Where can people find you online? How can they reach out to you?
Oh, you can go to directedira.com. If you want to book a call with me, I'm right there on the book a call page, down under the executive level. You can find me on Instagram, always posting things about self-directed IRAs. I think my Instagram handle is Nate Hare Official. So, if you want to follow for some more nerdy tax tricks and all that stuff, or tax tips, follow me on Instagram or search me out on the website.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nate. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
And to the listener, thanks for spending your most valuable resource with us, and that is your time. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you for joining us on From Adversity to Abundance. We hope today's episode has equipped you with valuable insights and practical advice to elevate your real estate journey. For more inspiring stories and resources, visit us at www.adversitytoabundance.com. If this episode has inspired you, please share it with a friend who could also benefit from our conversation. Together, let's turn adversity into abundance. Until next time, keep building your mental fitness and your real estate empire.